How many of you here, by show of hands, have goals that you're currently pursuing? Put up your hand if you have one. Great. How many of you have had goals before this and have achieved them? Show of hands. Couple people. Good. Now, have you ever had this train of thought? Have you ever thought that by getting these grades, you'll finally be happy? Or by getting into this university, your parents will be proud of you? Or when you just get that job, you'll finally have that work-life balance you always strive for? If you've ever asked yourself these questions, then this talk is specifically for you. The process over the result. But before I get into my talk, let's look at the theme of this year's TEDx. Imponderable. An imponderable is something that you cannot determine, you cannot evaluate. So it's hard to think about. So with that in mind, I'd like to ask you two questions. Number one, what is then the value of hard work? How do you define hard work? Is it defined by the results that you get from it? Or how much effort do you need to succeed? And another question, what is the value of happiness? Is it based on how content you are with your life, material possessions? What is it? Now these are two imponderables that I hope by the end of this talk we'll have the answer to it. But now let's get into my talk. This is basically a brief outline. I'll be talking about goal setting and how it affects your happiness and performance, followed by the result-oriented thinking, and finally I'll close it with my story. Let's begin. This is the question that I asked you earlier. When you think that by achieving something, you'll finally be happy, be it your work, studies, or whatnot, this is actually a concept called arrival fallacy. It was by a psychologist, he labeled it, Abdallah said that when you think you will arrive at a destination, you will be happy. It's called arrival fallacy. That is basically how it works. So, usually when you set a goal, you're very excited and you want to achieve it. So you're usually very happy. But then what happens is, as you get closer to your goal, or when you actually achieve it, you're not as happy. It's called the goal blues. And then you're wondering why. Last time when I had this goal, I was like, this is going to be amazing. But then after achieving it, you're like, why do I feel this way? This is actually very easy to explain. What happens is when you first set a goal, you anticipate it. So your brain releases a hormone called dopamine, which makes you happy and excited. But the thing is, when you achieve your goal, the brain's like, okay, we achieved it, no more dopamine, end of story. So what happens is we end up getting into a vicious cycle where you formulate a goal, then you're very happy, then when you achieve it, you're not as happy. So then you go look for something else, which is why no car is fast enough, no house is big enough, and no amount of money is ever enough. The more you focus on the results, the less happy you will be when you achieve them. I'll give you an easy example. How many of you here have nieces or nephews that are like small kids? Okay, or maybe cousins, I don't know, maybe you're young. Thing is, take them to a toy store and tell them, I'll buy you whatever you want, but one thing. Okay? After you buy it for them, tell them you can only open this once you get home. When you see that kid's face in the store, through the car ride, until he gets home, he is so excited. But what happens after he opens the toy after 2 or 3 hours? You'll find out he threw it away. Because that's the thing. The thing is, when you achieve your goal, there's no more excitement or mystery to it. So you're actually not as happy. So now let me talk about how it affects your performance. Now this is a very famous experiment. It's called the Glucksberg experiment. What he did was, in 1945, he got a group of people and he asked them, how do I take that candle, stick it to the wall, so the wax doesn't fall on the table or on the floor? So some people, they just took thumbtacks and they stuck it to the candle. Well, that does get the candle to the wall, but the wax will still drop. So some people, even smarter, they're like, why don't we melt the candle and then stick it to the wall? Thing is, it doesn't work. Now let me make this answer easier for you. What if you take the thumbtacks out of the box? Now do you see you have more things to play with? Right? You get it? Okay, so this is basically the answer. You take the thumbtacks out of the box, put the candle into it, and then stick it to the wall. You see, the reason why it wasn't easy to solve it at first is because when you just see the box, you think of it as something that is only meant to hold your thumbtacks. This is basically called functional bias. So it's a very simple but yet easy test of creativity. So why this is important is, a guy named Sam Glucksberg, he used this very same candle problem to test the effects of incentive on performance. So this is what he did. He took two groups of people and he presented them with the problem. On one group, he gave them an incentive. And of course, what's the best incentive? Money. He told them that whoever solves a question the fastest will be paid the most. That's what he told the incentivized group. What he told the group with no incentive, I just want to know how long it takes the average human to solve the problem. The results were astonishing. The people who were incentivized solved the problem 3 minutes later than those with no incentive. Now the reason for this is simple. When you're faced with a complex problem, if you only look at the results, it narrows your mind and you basically lose creativity, which is why it's harder to solve the problem. But when you give a simple problem like this, where there's no functional bias, the group with the incentive did a lot better than the group without the incentive. So I think you know what I'm getting at here. The thing is, now that we're moving on to the 21st century, we're having more and more complex problems. So if all you look at is, I need to get from A to B, and you don't really care how you get about it, you're not going to be performing very well. Neither are you going to be happy. So let's say you want to get from point A to point B. Either you can take the elevator, or you can take the stairs, or if you're Superman, you can just fly over. The thing is, right, we always focus on getting from A to B. But what if we just focused on the process and we didn't care about A and B? How do you think that would be different? Let me give you an idea. When you look at things from a result perspective, think about it. Winners and losers have the same goal, but only one team wins, or only some people win. Why is that? It has nothing to do with the goals you set. And as shown earlier, when you achieve your goal, you're not as happy. But if you don't achieve your goal, you're even less happy. So why not you remove that thinking and you start thinking about the process? The why it's important to think about the process is because you cannot control the outcome of a lot of things in life. But what you can control is what you do. That's why it's very easy to be motivated. An easy example. Let's say you want to lose weight. You want to lose about 10 kilos. Alright? The first day you go to the gym, you start running. You're like, I'm just going to run until I lose weight. The first week, you lose about 2 kilos. The second week, it slows down. And at some point, you just give up. Why? Because you didn't achieve the goal you wanted as fast as you wanted it to. Now let me ask you something. What if, instead of thinking like that, you just said, I'm going to run 1 kilometer a day every single day. And that's all there is to it. What you will do is you'll be motivated to do it every day because it's something you control. I can run 1 kilo a day, but I can't force myself to lose 1 kilo a week. So that's why you get more motivated with it. Also, when you remove the barriers of A and B, you start thinking that you actually open yourself up to other opportunities. So you end up getting way more than what you valued for. And last I checked, there's a book called the Habits of Highly Effective People, but there's no such thing as the Goals of Highly Effective People, because that's not what differentiates them. So now I'm going to move on to my story. Basically, when I entered university in my first year, I wanted to be a well-rounded student. So what I did was, I went and joined a bunch of clubs and activities. I joined ISEC, Leadership and Development, TEDx for, ideas worth spreading, the debate club, and I joined the orientation week. But the thing is, right, 6 months into joining one of these clubs, I had no idea what I was doing, nor did I get anywhere closer to my goal. So that's when things changed. Things changed when I met a guy. It was an ISEC conference. He was a facilitator. He told me this. He said that everybody has strengths and weaknesses. Now, if you focus on your weaknesses and try to improve them, you just become average, and nobody wants to be average. So why not focus on your strengths and experience greatness? Now, this changed the idea of how I wanted to be where I wanted to be. Basically, what I did was to cut a piece of paper, wrote down the objectives that I wanted to get on my goals, crumpled it up, throw it behind me, and realize that that's not what's important. What's important is how I'm going to get there. So what happened was, somewhere along the line, I discovered that I had public speaking skills, something I didn't know about. And what happened was, when I started focusing on the experiences that I was getting rather than where I was getting, I was open to more things. I made a lot more friends. I joined sports competitions. I joined public speaking competitions. I did a lot of events, and I've done a lot of things throughout my university life. And the only thing I cared about was, do I like what I'm doing? And if I do, I continue. If I don't, then I stop. Because no goal is equivalent to your happiness. Find something you like, stick to it, do it continuously, and this is basically the result. Basically, I managed to achieve, I became a well-rounded student. I was a co-organizer for TEDx, I was a head of department for IT, I joined sports competitions, public speaking, and basically, I achieved my goal. But this isn't exactly what matters to me. Because now that I got what I wanted, I didn't really feel the effect. But what is important is the journey. Now you see this picture right here means a lot more to me than any goal I've ever had. This picture right here shows all the friends, memories, experiences, ideas that I've had throughout my whole journey. See, these are the things that are going to stay with me till the end of my life. I may forget what goals I had in university, I may forget what I did, but one thing that will stick with me, the ideas, experiences, connections, and friends. Because these are the things that really matter. Can you measure them? No, but these are what matter. So let's go back to the question. What is the value of hard work? The thing is, this is a trick question, because there's no answer to it. You see, because in life, not everything has to be measured in dollars or cents or any unit. Because the things that really matter, you can't count them. You can't count how much people like you, you can't count any of this. So stop thinking about where you want to be and the results you want to have, and start thinking about the experiences that you want to take with you. Because these are what will get you to your goal and much more. So when you realize that success and results aren't what matter, but the journey is where the magic happens, that's where you improve your performance and at the same time be happy. I'd like to end my talk with this quote. The key to realizing a dream is to focus not on success, but significance. And that even the small steps and little victories along your path will take on greater meaning. Oprah Winfrey. Go through, make your path, enjoy it, because that's what you'll remember. You're not going to remember your objectives, you're not going to remember any of that. But what will stick with you for the rest of your life is who you build yourself to be. The process over the results. Thank you very much.